I've started in about 2001. That was before the word blog came about. It was before Twitter, it was before Facebook, it was before Thunder.com. I started 2 Ocean Vibe on the side purely to facilitate my friends. I used to take photos at parties and I'd stick it up on the internet, and that's all it was really. It was just a hobby. And people started to talk about the website, and friends of friends started to look at it, and they started to come to the website as well and told me that I should write more, and they were amused by the writing, so I said absolutely cool. I started mucking about, and the kind of content I was doing is this fellow, some of you might know, the TBG, great man. It stands for tall blonde guy. So I started posting photos of this guy. Who's this tall guy around Cape Town? He was very tall, very blonde, and he had these lightning blue eyes. And I staged a couple posts of friends standing with him and these elaborate stories about his aura and how amazing this guy was. And then it started, and since then we've had about 150 TBG sightings. It was just fun at this stage. Even at that stage, I don't think the word had arrived yet, blogs. I was just having a good time on the side. I remember another 2 Ocean Vibe was gaining momentum. I realized I needed to talk about topical stuff, so I thought I'd talk about idols. I literally turned it on for the first time, and Randall was in the seat. Dave was talking rubbish, and someone sang a bad song, and Randall said, did you say that you were a teacher? And the person said yes, and he says, well, you know what they say, those who don't know how to do, go on and teach, which is not the saying at all. So I just wrote an article all about how Randall mustn't try and be smarter than he is, and even a remotely smart person, even if they don't know big sayings, they'll stick to sayings that they know. And I wrote about that, and Dave and Randall wrote me emails one after the other, and for me it was great because it was raising 2 Ocean Vibe to the level where it can actually interact with a global syndicates like idols. So I was having a lot of fun, and what I'd do was I'd always grab the bull by the horn. So I made this music, the video, in response to Randall. What we did was film this entire thing in response to Randall. So the video went out on the internet. Needless to say, he didn't phone or anything. So TBG and Randall are very good examples of how we grab the bull by the horns at 2 Ocean Vibe. I found a good way to rally up the troops and to form a community is to find a common enemy. Obviously, cyclists are the bane of our lives on the roads. And I was saying, at the cycling helmets, no matter who you are, you look like an absolute twat. David Beckham and even Angelina Jolie. So of course people responded to this. The whole thing about 2 Ocean Vibe was loads of fun. People could talk about it, common enemies, common interests. And of course that went further. Found myself doing whatever in the media, and my face was out there. It's a hell of a rush. It's a fun thing. And I was just doing whatever came naturally, and people were responding. But then it all started, this whole word blog. And here's a blog post from this guy who's got tats and the spiky hair. And he wrote this blog post, and then at the very end he says, 2 Ocean Vibe is not a blog. And now this whole thing started. Is it a blog? Is it not a blog? And it hadn't actually occurred to me. But there's a tweet from a very well-known web guy, Rob Stokes, who says, why does everyone always try and define the word blog? The internet is too infinite for that. So, to be honest, I'm just doing exactly what I always did. I'm just putting out there what I think people want. Obviously, you keep your eye on the readership, and there's a lot of people on the side saying, it is a blog, it's not a blog, is blogging alive, is it dead? I'm just carrying on with the blog and giving people content that they want. 2 Ocean Vibe Radio has come along now. It's only accessible on the internet. Stats are going up, the listenership's up. We've got an iPhone app coming out, we've got a BlackBerry app. So if we look at the past, 2001, people were saying it was not a blog. People were making up reasons as to why it's not a blog. They said I didn't have permalinks. 2005 came and I had permalinks, and then it was, oh, he's a blog. And then they said, but people can't comment under the stories, it's not a blog. Now suddenly, if you have the comments, then you are a blog. If you don't, then you're not a blog. I didn't even know this word blog in 2001. So then I realized I had to move over to WordPress. And then 2010 comes now, and I've got multiple writers writing for 2 Ocean Vibe. It's getting 300,000 page impressions per month, over 55,000 unique readers reading it. And now I'm being told, because I've got multiple writers, it's not a blog. Okay. So yeah. So to answer your question, is blogging dead? My answer is, I don't care. Thank you very much.
Okay. The topic we were given was, is blogging dead? But I have a question of my own. Who the bloody hell decided to start asking the question, and why are we even asking the question, is blogging dead in the first place? I'll tell you why, right? Because some doers at Wired magazine writes this article, Twitter, Flickr, Facebook make blogs look so 2004. Thinking about launching your own blog? Here's some friendly advice, don't. And if you've already got one, pull the plug. Yeah? The most ironic thing about this post was it was written on a blog. Terminates with comments like this dude, funny, I would not have found this article if it wasn't a blog who linked to it. Yeah? So I want to ask some of the experts. Ask Michael Arrington. Hey Michael, is Wired magazine right? No. Yeah? He says they're not right. And you know why? Because if he had listened to Wired magazine when they said last year, shut your blog down, he probably wouldn't have been able to sell it to AOL this year, a blog for 278 million rand. 278 million rand he sold his blog for. Do you think he thinks blogging is dead? Not at all. Let's bring it closer to home, yeah? We were talking about idols judges. What about this guy, Gareth Cliff? Yeah? Do you think he thinks blogging is dead? This is a guy, have any of you read his Dear Government series? Yeah. Very good, you know? He managed to get 845 comments on this post. Then, there was a follow-up. Then the next day, he writes this one. 26th of October, Dear Government, the meeting. We discussed, he met with the presidential spokesperson. We discussed my letter to government. This is what blogging can do. And you know what? I saw this morning, Zapiro parodied it. Yeah? So, he's gone from the radio to blogging to government to newsprint. He's using blogging as a vehicle to transcend things. Now, the fact of the matter is, these are things that we couldn't have done without blogs, because I don't have a voice otherwise. This gives me the voice. So where's all this debate coming from? I think the debate, over and above the Wired article, is coming from the fact that people are more exposed to other mediums. For example, Twitter. We see Twitter every day. We see this whole blog versus Twitter debate. Let's look at a guy like Guy Kawasaki. Every tweet he does will go through to an all-top page. Understand that's because Guy Kawasaki owns all-top. But then he links to the source. And the funny thing is, you start seeing, the first one links through to Lifehacker. Lifehacker is a blog. The next one links through to Mashable. Mashable, blog. Read Write Web, blog. So blogging can be dead because Twitter requires blogging. That's why I've put the arrows going both ways. Because this is the beautiful thing that's happened. On one side, the guys on Twitter need the blogs because we've got to have those interesting content. But we also need, from a blogging point of view, we need social aggregation. I think that's what's happened. Yeah? In my mind, blogging creates the content and Twitter distributes it. That's what happens. One can't live without the other one. The problem is that it's a shit ton more work. It's a lot harder. And you know why? Because more people are doing it. And it's tough. And the reason is, I had to look at the corporate blogs. Mr. Price has a blog. Did you know that? You know what the shit thing about Mr. Price's blog is? It's really good. I continued my search for a bad blog. I decided to have a look at a law firm. How good could they be? Dinesh Rates. Phenomenal blog. Seriously, this stuff is amazing. It got so difficult that eventually I decided, well, hell, let me crowdsource the solution. So I put out a tweet last night. Anyone know of a company in South Africa that blogs really badly? Do you know who I found? Nobody. Nobody replied. It was like an echo chamber of nothingness. The fact of the matter is, people are actually putting out good things. What I've realized is this, that the proliferation of blogging has forced the existing bloggerati to up their game significantly. If I want to get noticed, I have to think longer and write better and really do my best to make sure that I'm creating content that people will want to read. Yeah? Because in my mind, whether you love it or hate it, we have given the consumers a mouthpiece and they're never going to shut up. It is here to stay. Blogging is definitely not dead. Zang, thank you.